Andrew Neiman wants to change, but wanting has only ever gotten him so far. Andrew is passive, going wherever the wind takes him, wading through life without any tangible control. On the surface, things may seem like they're going well. By putting in just enough effort, he has gotten into a prestigious music school, pursuing his dream of becoming like his idols. But an education is one thing, a career in the field is another. And to aspire to be like his idols, it can't just be another job. Just another job won't be sufficient to quell his anxiety, his insecurities, his insignificance. All of these require something greater. Andrew Neiman needs to be greater. Initially, he exhibits traits similar to his father, a man who is perhaps a pushover personified. His father apologizes to someone bumping into him.
Sorry.
He greets his family members' out-of-pocket comments about his cooking with nothing but a receptive smile. Even they know the deal.
Overcooked. I can barely chew this. He just laughed.
Similarly, Andrew accepts any and all disrespect. At practice, someone makes a comment about Andrew as he listens on. His fellow drummer tries to console him, but Andrew, not wanting to seem like a nuisance, brushes it off. His self-worth is non-existent. It is perhaps this attitude of letting life happen to him that holds him back from achieving his goals, from achieving greatness. Andrew Neiman must change, but he can't. But life is strange in the way it intervenes just when you need it most. It can often be a force for good, and just as often a force for evil. In Andrew's case, it's Fletcher. As with the rest of his passive nature, Andrew doesn't actively seek out Fletcher. Fletcher finds him in his own practice studio, and presents him the opportunity he's always desired, but was too timid to pursue. There's only one problem. Fletcher is a monster. The vitriol he spews is accompanied by insults of fire and fury. There is no room for error. Any mistake is death. Andrew witnesses this firsthand at practice, and experiences a level of disrespect even he isn't accustomed to. But he understands. He understands that though he's been disrespected all his life, no one has ever believed in him. This time, someone does. Someone chose him. Someone is enraged because there is finally an expectation of greatness. It is this harshness and tough love that instills in Andrew the drive to become better. His practice sessions become more and more intense. He pushes himself further than he ever thought possible. And when the opportunity arises, when he finally gets the chance to fill in for the lead drummer, he succeeds. This confidence in his drumming ability ripples over into the rest of his life. He actively asks Nicole out on a date after being shy about it earlier. When his family is dismissive about his music career ambitions, he sticks up for himself, and maybe even goes overboard. He is finally putting an active foot forward for his future. Andrew Neiman has started to change. But is it good for him? It's only inevitable that if his confidence carries over into the rest of his life, so too will the hubris. When he asks Nicole about school, he's semi-dismissive of her choice in studies. You can see how he begins to build notions of superiority in his head. He chooses Schaefer because it's
the best music school in the country,
while she goes to Fordham simply because she got in. When it comes to Andrew's drumming, Fletcher begins to challenge him with other players. When Fletcher gives someone else a part, Andrew lashes out.
Are you serious?
Thanks.
That
The words of consolation he previously accepted from his bandmate are now rejected. He has nothing for him but condescension and envy. Andrew's practice becomes an outlet for his self-hatred. Each drum hit is either a vote towards his future, or a punishment for his insolence. He decides that it's either this or nothing. He ends his relationship out of a self-righteous notion of not wanting to be distracted. All of these are active steps towards the future he thinks he wants, but he cannot yet comprehend the destruction he is sowing. After a 5-hour grueling battle with the other two drummers, Andrew earns back the part. But why doesn't he feel any different? Andrew Neiman is unraveling. He is losing himself. When everything goes wrong on his way to a competition, he forgets his drumsticks. Fletcher is ready to give the part to someone else, but Andrew is combative and insists on waiting for him to retrieve his sticks. There's no way he's letting go of this opportunity once he's so rightfully earned it. While rushing back to the theater, this happens. Even after being hit by a truck, Andrew is single-minded. He cannot stop for anything. He must play at the competition. He drags himself to the theater to attempt to fulfill his dream, his destiny. He fails miserably. When Fletcher disowns him, Andrew goes feral. He pounces on him and in the process gets expelled from Schaefer. Andrew Neiman is broken. He has returned to his passive nature. Even the decision to pursue anonymous legal action against Fletcher was basically made for him. Very little remains of the ambitious drummer who dreamt of mastering his domain, of conquering the world. He goes to work, comes home, spends time with his father as he once did, and repeats the cycle endlessly. But when he's strolling around the city and sees that Fletcher is performing at a club, a remnant of his past self is channeled. He feels the need to reach back into his past. He sees Fletcher play, and when he makes eye contact, attempts to evade him. But Fletcher catches him, and they converse. Fletcher charms Andrew as he once did, reminding him of what it takes to be great, to reach out and grasp your own destiny. And then he offers Andrew the chance to play again. Once again, Fletcher reaches out to give Andrew an opportunity he would never think himself worthy to pursue. He accepts. Andrew is slowly starting to believe again. But unfortunately, he doesn't realize until it's too late that this is another one of Fletcher's games. And this time, it isn't for Andrew's benefit. Fletcher tricks him into playing a song he doesn't know and embarrasses him in front of the very people he needed to impress. Andrew Neiman is gone. Anything that was left of his hopes and dreams in the music business is seemingly shattered. Unless for once he takes a hold of the sail. Unless he resists the direction of the wind and for once grasps his destiny. He runs back onto the stage and starts playing the music he's familiar with, much to Fletcher's dismay. Andrew ignores Fletcher and is able to convince the rest of the band to join in with him. Fletcher goes from being bemused, to intrigued, to impressed. Is there still hope for Andrew? He plays perhaps the best he's ever played. Lights come down, but he keeps playing. Fletcher is even more confused. But he understands. This is the culmination of what he was sowing. Andrew plays a solo for what feels like an eternity. He is truly alone during the solo. The band on stage stares at him in what is either awe or concern. His father gleams through the curtains, trying his hardest to recognize the man who was once his son. And Fletcher continues to observe, but now he's invested. He gives Andrew cues for the tempo and watches as his experiment finally works. Andrew pauses in between notes and observes Fletcher. He nods in approval. And now, elation. Andrew Neiman has finally changed. He has finally taken hold of something in his life. But at what cost? At the cost of his family, at the cost of relationships, at the cost of even pursuing the dream he had in the first place. Don't let the finale fool you. Andrew's career is over before it started. He's been expelled for assaulting a faculty member. He has just failed miserably in front of a crowd he so desperately needed to impress. It is possible that his final performance may lead to some opportunity. But all it really affirms is how erratic he is, how insecure he is. What was supposed to be a final act of revenge against Fletcher becomes a cry for his approval. He has been duped into believing he has regained some semblance of control. But make no mistake, it is an illusion. He is a slave to expectation. He needs Fletcher's approval. So in the end, Andrew Neiman truly does evolve. Just not in the way he might have hoped for.